In this episode, we're going to be talking about recent-ish release from the indie lo-fi band Car Seat Headrest. We're going to be talking. What else did we talk about? We talked about the that streaming platform.
Yep. So we're going to be looking at Cobras and some of the features that they offer compared to some other platforms, and also a fun little game we discovered recently that we're going to be trying out called Music League.
And last but least, if you stick with us till the end of the episode, you're going to get yourselves a rabbit hole. And if you don't know what that is, then you probably should just stick around and
find out.
Find out, I guess. Let's get into it.
Rambles and Records.
Do you like Car Seat Headrest?
Car Seat Headrest? Yeah.
Not literally.
I like resting my head on car seats.
That's great.
Yeah.
What about the band?
Yeah, man, they're cool. Like, I know a few songs, which I thought, yeah, that's cool.
I wanted to talk about their album that came out last month. It was released start of May. Yeah, so Car Seat Headrest, for those that don't know, they're a kind of a lo-fi indie rock group, which is kind of the brainchild of Will Toledo. He started the project in 2010, and it was literally from the back seat of his car, literally.
Oh, right, okay.
So he was too shy to record vocals even at home.
Oh, well.
So not even even going to a studio, like even his house. So he'd drive to like secluded parking lots and lay down sort of tracks in his car.
Was he lying down at the time?
Well, he'd lay. It was a double lay down. So he'd be laying down them tracks. But yeah, he just went with like a laptop, cheap mic, and he basically self-released a dozen albums on, at the time it was just getting sort of known, but the Bandcamp. So he was very much like one of the first kind of Bandcamp artists that blew up, I would say, in terms of what I'm aware of anyway.
Okay, yeah.
And he created that kind of cult following.
Yeah. Well, I had no idea that they had like their history rooted through internet distribution or Bandcamp or anything. Like, one of the first times I heard about them, they were playing at Primavera, and I think we caught a bit of their set.
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's very much that like kind of DIY kind of ethos. But yeah, eventually they signed to Matador, which Matador is a really cool label. Loads of sort of bands been through there that you could kind of familiarise yourself with. Queens of the Stone Age and Arctic Monkeys have been on there, all that sort of shit. So
I was already thinking of Arctic Monkeys actually when you mentioned their story, because their journey started through MySpace, didn't it? Like,
of course. This is what I want to touch on, because Matador seemed to be very in tune with the DIY ethos of things, giving the artist more creative freedom. So yeah, I think the band itself, they've been kind of compared to like Pavement, Beck, that sort of like really kind of low sort of sleaze rock, indie rock. But I love them. I think they're great. I think when they were like starting out, and I checked out kind of like Teens of Denial, there was a lot of songs during that period that resonated with me for the lyrics. Like, his lyrics are really cool. And they personally resonated with me at the exact time that I think I was hearing them. And it was a lot about like going out and like going to parties and doing loads of drugs and getting fucked and thinking, actually, is this still cool? It's a lot of that sort of thing of like coming of age, but then discovering that part of your life might be done. I've noticed there's a lot of songs like that I thought were cool.
That's interesting. Yeah. I never had a band to guide me through that part of my life.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and listen to it.
That's why you're still a raving drug addict. But yeah. So, yeah, so their album came out May 2nd, and the album is called Scholars. The Scholars is a rock opera and concept album.
Oh wow!
So
Don't get a lot of those anymore, do you?
You don't. We're lost in the world of like not pairing those two together. Featuring a cast of 8 characters. This is why I love this, man. Like the story of which takes place in a fictional school named Parasus University, a home to students and staff whose travails illuminate a loose narrative of life, death, and rebirth. Each song is sung from the perspective of one of these characters. For instance, there's a song called CCF, which follows a protagonist named Bolko, who's
Bulka.
deeply fond of the university and its founder and believes he himself is a reincarnation of the founder and seeks his approval and confirmation of his beliefs.
Wow.
And the album also, right, I've got some, hang on, can't even turn the page. Try being cool holding the mic, just not paying off. Takes inspirations directly from Shakespeare, Mozart, classical opera, various biblical and religious texts, and albums such as Tommy by The Who and The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars by David Bowie. Themes from the album include yearning youth and religious anxiety. As I mentioned, the album itself came out on Matador. It was recorded in Seattle, which is, I think they're from near like Washington, so not too far. But yeah, before the release, the Matador founder, Chris Lombardi, came up with the idea of a video game to promote the album.
Oh what?
Which I thought was pretty cool. But unfortunately, there wasn't enough time. So instead, they released like a puzzle game and they called it WebQuest. You can find it on their website.
Okay.
And it basically it's a bit anticlimactic now because the album's out, but they released it like before the album came out. And it was a game where you'd unlock puzzles with like maths and different questions and stuff, and then each time you got one right, it released a snippet of one of the singles, which is
Okay.
called Gethsemane. And as the game progressed, you got more of the song until I think you got the full song at the end.
Okay. Cool.
I mean, there's so much going on here. This is why I thought like I had to talk about this because this is very, very creative stuff, man. Like,
It's a really interesting use of like technology as well. This is obviously something. It's finding ways to like drum up excitement, I guess, and using the tools available in a way that isn't shoving stuff down your throat with adverts or
yeah, just like
reels, whatever.
modern marketing, social media, kind of like sort of Google ads, whatever you want to call it. This is kind of going back in time a little bit, especially because it definitely fits with the type of stuff we talk about, because the overall aesthetic of the album, the puzzle game, the art involved with the album and these characters and stuff like that, it's very reminiscent of like Y2K. So it reminded me very much of like, like those old PC RPG games where those sort of old RPG mystery,
like the point and click adventures, like Monkey
point and click.
Island.
Yeah, exactly.
Mate,
Like
that's
that.
my favorite game of all time.
Holy shit. You should check it out then. It gave me very much like reminiscence of that. And then with this whole game that they've created, this puzzle game on it's not the most sophisticated technology, but I think they've done that on purpose.
Yeah.
It's very retro, very cool. And I think overall, the creativity that's gone into this project, the story, the concept behind the album, the rock opera element of it, which is really cool. Yeah, there's a lot to it. The album was recorded mainly using analog equipment, which is pretty cool. Also, what's pretty out there is Toledo stated the band wouldn't fight lengths of songs. with track 8, Planet Desperation, coming in at 18 minutes 52.
Oh shit! They really weren't.
That's stepping into the world of prog.
It's just a full-on jam, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And finally, the reception. So the Scholars was received well from critics. It received a Metacritic score of 78 based on 11 reviews, being called Toledo's finest work to date, perhaps their most ambitious album yet, and a rock opera worthy of the form.
Cool, man.
I'd agree, man. Like, it's definitely growing on me. More than anything, the reason why I want to highlight this is just like the creativity behind it. It's just cool to see bands doing that sort of shit, man. Love it.
Yeah,
Love to see it.
Definitely. No, it's wicked. No, I'm looking forward to checking it out. Well,
Do it, man.
I mean, that kind of brings me to what I want to talk about.
Rambles and records.
I'm thinking about going back to streaming.
What?
Yeah. I've been thinking a bit about it, and it's like I've had a really great experience, like from cutting off from it. But kind of admit that it's part of the reality of the world that we live in. That is kind of how a lot of music is presented to the world, and by cutting yourself off from that completely, you make it a bit more difficult for yourself to be able to kind of participate with the conversation, like of what is current music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think an important thing that I learned from this experience was that the streaming services offer a tool, and it's kind of up to you to decide how to use it. If you want to submit yourself completely to the algorithm and not think about anything, that's up to you. But that doesn't mean that it has to be a negative experience.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try some different things. I want to maybe try out some different streaming services and just kind of compare like what's on offer, see how that changes things. So there's another service that I'm really curious to try out called Cobas. They're a French-based streaming platform, and I think I have mentioned them before a while back. So one of their focuses is on high fidelity streaming, and you can also buy albums to download, or like buy tracks to own forever.
Right.
So it gives you that option. Like you have a library that you can stream from, but you can also buy your favorite tracks and albums to keep.
Okay, that's a pretty cool idea, yeah. To have the option at least.
Yeah, exactly.
Still stay within the same app though, because like you say, it's definitely a part of this world. It's how you use it, but it's that option to own still.
Yeah,
So if you use the streaming to find the gems and then buy the gems, then that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's really cool. Yeah, because it's a great way for a band to be able to promote its material. And the fact that it's given for free might mean that most people don't end up buying. So it might still not turn out to be the best deal for the artist. I'm not sure. It might. But it's the best businessmen that you try a bit before you buy, don't they? And then it's a great way to sell stuff. And then for those people who want to have that option to support their artists more, or to be able to own the music and to be able to have that forever, that like we were talking about recently, that option is there. The caveat to this platform is that it's not available in Malta, and I had a bit of a bad experience this afternoon trying to subscribe.
What do you mean the police were called? Listen, we've told you. Stop trying.
So it's only supported in like 26 countries, which is quite a lot of countries, but there is many more countries in the world that can't use it. And I don't know whether that's like legal reasons, or it might be down to licensing or something. They might have to get certain permissions or whatever with authorities.
Yeah.
It highlights a little bit about how much of a behemoth that Spotify, Apple, and Amazon are. you know, because they're so easy to access from anywhere, and you kind of take for granted how easy these platforms are to get on. That when you try and actually use an alternative, it's not as smooth getting in.
It's one of those as well that I think obviously if you're a small fish in a big pond, and you've got these massive, what's like a big fish, like a carp or a tuna, and you're like a little tiny little, help me out,
Anchovy.
little fish, anchovy. You know, yeah, but I'm an anchovy, but I've got really high res.
I'm a really high res anchovy.
Then obviously the little anchovies. What the fuck am I saying, man? Oh god.
You know, these other companies have so much resources at their disposal now. They have big teams all over the world. They're producing probably more products than we're even aware of. Like when we use their services, we probably only use about 5% of what they make. And for a smaller product to stand out or to stand a chance, you know, they kind of have to offer something that the other one's not.
I think it's really going to develop in the next few years. For better or worse, I've got this feeling that we're just going to get bored of Spotify, regardless of how amazing it is. And we're just going to almost rebel to anything that can kind of...
I think
I'm considering myself just for the sake of it. Since the DJ is trying to tell me, you know, I take requests, I'm at the point now where I just want to jump ship and kind of...
You could just like not use the DJ. Like
No,
I never
no,
used
no,
the
no.
DJ when I had Spotify.
No, sir. Don't. It controls me too, Bill. I
It controls
can't.
you.
Yeah, the DJ now. I get in the car and he goes, "Hey, what's up? I'm DJX," and I'm like, "What?" And like, it'll be like, "Fuck it," I'll be trying to break, and it's like, "Hey, it's DJX. I thought you were gonna put me on. I'm gonna just joking," and then it will stop at the last second just before I crash into someone.
No, so you are already a slave to the AI. Man, you've
Pretty
really
much.
fallen for it. I'm sorry to hear
That
it.
would be a cool Black Mirror episode, actually. I'm gonna stop because this sounds like plagiarism.
Killed by Spotify.
Rambles and records.
There's a new app called Music League, and they've kind of gamified music discovery. And they have basically, I guess it works through an API connecting to the Spotify library, so it has access to all of that music. And you create a league either with your mates or you can play in public leagues, and you kind of create a theme or a topic for that round, and then everyone in that league submits a song. So an example of one that I saw this afternoon, there's a league which is called Psych Garage Punk, and the first round was anything that fits the genre that's not English, and then you've got like 20 people that are all contributing, you know, their favorite non-English garage punk or psych song.
Yeah.
And so everyone submits their song, but then everyone has to vote on their favorite one. So then at the end of the round, everyone gets points, and then like you kind of have this winner, and you kind of gamify a bit the experience of sharing music, but you're having a real human element of like of
At
actually
least
like sharing the music with, you know, it can be your mates or it can be people on the internet. And
that's pretty cool, man. I like
So-
that because I imagine there's a comment section or something where you can
Yeah, yeah.
engage with each other on, oh,
Yeah.
that's a good pick, bad pick, or oh man, yeah, this and that. And I think from that, you're still having peer-to-peer conversations
Yeah.
directly with each other and sharing the love of music, albeit like over the internet, still tons closer to what things used to be like, where people used to just put records down and share music together. Like,
No, exactly. And I was kind of browsing like some of the entries from it, and you know, there was a few songs there that I knew, but most of the songs I didn't know. And like, you know, it's a chance for people to show stuff that might be close to them, or like maybe really popular in their local music scene or something that might not be well known in other parts of the world. But the other thing that I found was really cool is that it really made me stop and think, like, what would I put? And there was that intentionality to it as well. It's like really racking my brain, like, oh yeah, I'd love to put like something sick here. Like, how can I show off a bit, like what I know?
You know what? I'd be so shit at it. I've just realised how crap I am when someone passes in any experience where I've been past the orcs throughout my
Mm.
life. I have almost always failed. I've
Oh.
either not read the room properly. That's the main thing. A few
Mhm.
times I've been all right, or my mind just goes completely blank. It is. I think it's some sort of phobia I've developed.
No,
So
I've been
maybe
there.
this
I've
could be
been there.
good,
I get that.
like exposure therapy for me
Yeah,
to
but
uh
the
to get that back.
other good thing is it's not like quick fire, so it's not like you're all sitting there like playing a quiz. You have like 2 days.
Screaming.
You have
Fucking
two.
decide! Oh, you're such a dickhead. You're so shit. You got such shit music taste.
It's like
Knobhead.
COVID
It's
all
like
over again.
it's
Even though
like
there's quizzes, everyone was
yeah,
playing
yeah.
the pandemic on Zoom.
Come on, man, hurry up.
But now
Anyway,
you've got like 2 days to like submit, and you've got like 5 days to vote. So it's not like a fast paced kind of
that's pretty cool, man.
dopamine thing. You kind of have the week to
Yeah,
embrace,
imagine
like
that.
enjoy that playlist and stuff.
That's a really cool introspective thing as well, to kind of sit with yourself one night and go, oh, when shall I do that? Should I do it tonight or should I do it tomorrow? I'll do it tonight because I've got an hour. And you sit down and you go, fuck yeah, I haven't give this any thought really like this.
Yeah.
God, and through that you probably think of old favorites and then moments gone by, and then like we talk about as well, those favorites that you think of usually come with a memory and a story and an experience.
Yeah, no,
That's what
exactly,
it's all
exactly,
about, man.
exactly. And you can actually adjust the length of how long you want the rounds to be when you create the league and stuff. So
2 years.
customize. Yeah, maybe. Let's try it.
Let's
But
do it,
yeah,
man. Yeah,
I'm
cool.
gonna set up a league, I think, and maybe try and get a few of our mates in and just try it out for a little bit.
Let's do it.
You know, sometimes it's kind of easy to point the finger at technology as itself being responsible for maybe a lot of the things that we struggle with modern technology. But I think used in the right way, there can be a lot of good stuff that comes out of it. For example, how Car Seat Headrest creating this project, and how some mates, I think it was some mates made this app. Like they were messing around with this idea and then they just made it a real thing. So
Fair play.
there's some cool stuff you can do, like with a bit of imagination. So I thought that was cool.
Definitely. Yeah, I could definitely get down with that. Fair play. I'm gonna check that out. So I don't even think I won't, because I will. What's it called again?
It's called Music League.
Right on the nose there.
Rambles and records.
Right, wrapping this up then, Bill.
Yep.
You never guess what I got for you. You never guess what I've got for you. I've got a rabbit hole.
No, he hasn't.
Oh.
Oh no.
Anyway, it's been a while. For those that don't know, Rabbit Hole is it's a segment where we create a series of links within the world of music and music history that begin on the date of recording. So today being May 30th. And we progress through jumping down the rabbit hole and then continue to link other bits of trivia with one another until we end up coming out of the rabbit hole on the same date, being May 30th. Did I explain that right? Can you do a better job than that, please, Bill?
Can I? I don't know if I can do a better job, but I can do a job. A rabbit hole is where you put all your little chocolate eggs for safekeeping.
Because they be trying to steal them.
They've been trying to steal your chocolate eggs, so you got to keep them safe in your little rabbit hole.
Anyway, on May 30th, 1996, a contestant went on to Mastermind. That's right. That's where
Oh
we
yeah, I
started.
remember.
You know the one.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, for those that don't know, Mastermind, the extremely British quiz show where people sit on a leather chair and pretend it's not weird. Basically, the guy who went on to Mastermind chose the Sex Pistols as his specialist subject. In terms of TV, the band themselves didn't really get on with TV presenters much, being the Sex Pistols. But like a decade earlier, so in 1986, they were spitting on TV presenters, and now they were the subject of primetime trivia. Goes to show the revolution will be multiple choice. Going then into link 2. So, of course, the Sex Pistols' biggest controversy came on May 31st, 1977, when the BBC banned God Save the Queen for being a bit too punk for tea time. Despite the ban, it charted at number 2, suspiciously never reaching number 1, even though it outsold every other single that week. Call it chart manipulation, or just call it polite censorship. Either way, the band had a manager, and the manager's name was Malcolm McLaren. And in 1982, he made his way to the South Bronx and gatecrashed a block party thrown by Africa Bambaataa. And there he discovered turntablism, scratching, mixing, all that jazz, the magic trick with the vinyl, that sort of stuff. And he turned it into a single called Buffalo Gals. That leads us directly to African Bambaataa and their own groundbreaking track, Planet Rock, which was released in 1982, blended hip hop with kind of Kraftwerk style synths. Do you remember that song, Bill? It was on Ali G. Do you remember the end of Ali G in the house where they have to get past the laser beams and they do like a series of dance moves to get past the lasers?
No, I don't know if I saw it,
Oh fuck. There's no point seeing it now, mate.
You just ruined it for me.
No, it's not that. It's just like
I just rented the video.
Fuck, I'm sorry, man. Anyway, the song famously samples Kraftwerk's Trans-Europe Express. And instead of throwing a German legal tantrum, Kraftwerk were like, right, let's strike a deal. You can use the sample, but for a dollar per copy fee. And this brings us on to Kraftwerk. On May 30th, 2016, Germany's Supreme Court ruled that sampling 2 seconds of a Kraftwerk track was okay, as long as it was creatively transformed. Finally, the courts admitted what DJs had known for decades: that art isn't theft if you're clever about it.
Nice. All of those little chocolate eggies.
Look at that, all them little chocolate eggies and bang!
Why did so many things happen on the 30th of May?
I don't know. But yeah, follow us on socials, although, and keep doing whatever it is that you want to do. Billy, have you got any nutritional advice?
Yeah, always eat the kiwi skin. It's where the most vitamins are.
Kiwi skin, eat it, even if it's furry and gross. See you next week.
To bring my sunglasses.
Why do you need sunglasses?
I was going to do a whole sunglasses bit with the nutritional facts.
Fuck.
Like CSI.
Like CSI.